I never believed that one evening could quietly rewrite the rest of your life. Not loudly, not with explosions or dramatic music, but casually, over cheap wine, laughter, and someone else's housewarming party. I met Lena at my friend Ryan's new apartment. Ryan had finally moved out of his cramped studio and into a place that smelled like fresh paint and reckless optimism. The place was full of people I half knew from work, old classmates, neighbors who brought store-bought snacks and pretended they cooked them themselves. Lena didn't stand out at first. No dramatic entrance, no loud laugh. She was leaning against the kitchen counter, barefoot, holding a glass she barely touched. Brown hair pulled into a loose knot, strands constantly slipping free. When she smiled, it was cautious, like she wasn't sure yet whether the moment deserved it. Ryan introduced us. "This is Daniel," he said, "the guy who works too much and complains about it constantly." "And this is Lena," Ryan added. "She actually enjoys long walks. On purpose." She laughed at that, finally taking a sip of her drink. "I don't see the crime in that," she said. Her voice was calm, warm, unforced. We started talking without trying. About small things at first, music playing in the background, the terrible parking situation, Ryan's obsession with minimalist furniture. Then the conversation deepened, naturally, without effort. She told me she worked in project coordination for a construction firm. I told her I ran a small legal consulting team downtown. There was an age difference. I noticed it immediately. I was in my mid-30s, settled, stable, already tired in ways I couldn't fully explain. Lena was younger, still carrying that subtle restlessness of someone who hadn't been disappointed enough times yet. Different experiences, different rhythms. And yet, standing there, it didn't feel like a gap. It felt like balance. Our first date happened a few days later. Nothing fancy. Coffee, then a long walk through a park on the edge of the city. She talked about hiking trails, about disappearing into nature when work became too loud in her head. I listened, surprised by how easy it felt to just be present. There was no rush, no games. At least, that's what I believed then. The relationship grew quickly after that. Faster than I expected. Faster than I usually allowed. My team noticed. They teased me, told me I looked lighter, less tense. Even my mother approved. And she didn't approve easily. She liked Lena's manners, her politeness, the way she listened instead of waiting to speak. Living together came up naturally. Not as a dramatic decision, but as an obvious next step. She was spending most nights at my place anyway. Her toothbrush appeared in my bathroom, then clothes in my closet, then entire weekends that felt strangely domestic and safe. For a while, everything felt right. Then small things began to change. Lena started staying late at work more often. At first, I didn't question it. Deadlines, projects, pressure, it all made sense. But her explanations became vague, less detail, less eye contact. She was tired all the time, tense, distracted. She mentioned a colleague, Ethan. Casually, almost too casually. A difficult project. Long hours. Team stress. I noticed how she guarded her phone, how it never left her hand, how notifications made her stiffen, how she turned the screen away without realizing she was doing it. I told myself I was imagining things. When I proposed, I thought it would bring us closer. I truly did. I planned it carefully. Nothing extravagant. Just us. A quiet evening. A question I believed I already knew the answer to. She said yes, but something shifted almost immediately after. A coldness. Subtle, but unmistakable. She smiled less. Touched me less. Her phone suddenly had a new password. She carried it into the bathroom, to bed, everywhere. The doubt crept in quietly, like water, seeping under a closed door. The weekend that changed everything started with a plan I had been excited about for weeks. A short trip, a reset, just us. Then her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and froze. "Work," she said too quickly. "Ethan needs help. It's urgent." The lie sat heavy in the air. I felt it before I could prove it. Later that night, while she slept, I checked the call logs, the messages. The pattern was undeniable. When I confronted her, it exploded. She accused me of jealousy, of insecurity, of not trusting her. The argument escalated, voices raised, words sharp and careless. At some point, it became physical. Not punches, but shoves, desperation, anger colliding. She slept on the couch that night. The next morning, she told me she was going hiking with her friend Mia. I wanted to believe her. Then Mia texted me. She wasn't hiking. She hadn't spoken to Lena in weeks. I checked the location app. The truth stared back at me, merciless and precise. I finally understood the scale of the betrayal. I just didn't know yet how violently it was about to collide with my life. The weather alert came through my phone in the late afternoon. Severe thunderstorm warning, high winds, possible lightning strikes. Normally I would have ignored it, but something in my chest tightened. I texted Lena. "There's a storm coming. Are you okay?" No response. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail. At 10 in the evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. "This is Mercy General Hospital," a woman said calmly, professionally. "Are you listed as the emergency contact for Lena Walker?" My heart stopped before my mind could catch up. "She's been admitted following a lightning strike," the nurse continued. "Her condition is stable. She has burns and possible internal trauma. We recommend you come in." I don't remember the drive. Just the fluorescent lights, the smell of disinfectant, the sound of machines breathing for her. She looked small in the hospital bed, fragile, bandages on her arms, burn marks along her shoulder. Her hair smelled faintly of smoke. The nurse mentioned another woman brought in from the same incident. Critical condition. I nodded, barely processing the words. When Lena woke up, she didn't cry. She didn't apologize at first. She just stared at the ceiling. "I need to tell you something," she said quietly. The affair had been going on for almost 2 months. Ethan, secret lunches, late nights, a weekend at a rented cabin, while I thought she was working overtime. They were together when the storm hit. The lightning struck nearby. She remembered heat, sound, nothing else. I listened. Calm. Empty. When she finished, I told her the engagement was over. I walked out of the room and didn't look back. I spent that night in a cheap roadside motel, staring at the ceiling, replaying every ignored sign. In the morning, I packed her things. Every item. Every trace. I blocked her number. Deleted her from everything. Her mother called. Pleaded. Said Lena was confused, traumatized, vulnerable. I told her betrayal doesn't disappear because of tragedy. Then Lena called from a different number. She demanded help with the hospital bills. I told her she made her choices. She showed up at my office days later, screaming, crying, accusing me of ruining her life. She slapped me. I called the police. As they led her away, I took off the ring and dropped it into the trash. The rumors spread faster than I expected. Whispers in hallways, side glances. Someone always knows someone who heard something. Lena had been transferred for psychiatric evaluation after another breakdown. The words felt heavy but distant, like they belonged to someone else's life. I threw myself into work, long hours, therapy sessions twice a week. My therapist kept asking how I felt. I kept answering with facts instead of emotions. It was easier that way. Weeks later, on my way home, the road was almost empty. The sun had already dropped below the trees, leaving everything tinted gray. That's when a pickup truck swerved in front of me and blocked the road. I stopped. The driver's door opened. I recognized him immediately. Lena's father. His face was red, twisted with rage. He walked toward my car, one hand behind his back. "You broke my daughter," he shouted. "You're going to fix this." He pulled out a gun. He screamed that I would marry her, that I would make everything right, that this was my responsibility. I tried to reason with him, told him to put it down, told him this wasn't real. The gun went off. Pain exploded through my thigh. I collapsed. He froze, eyes wide, then ran back to the truck and sped away. I called the police, an ambulance. The sky above me felt enormous and empty. At the hospital, they told me I was lucky. No artery hit. Surgery, recovery, time. The physical wound healed faster than the shock. During rehab, I met Claire. She wasn't part of my past. She didn't know Lena. She knew who I was now. She listened without pushing, supported without demanding. Slowly, I began to breathe again. Then one night, my doorbell rang. The pounding on the door shook me from sleep. My first thought was Claire. My second thought was fear. The third was dread I couldn't name. I opened it. Lena stood there, eyes wild, hair tangled, face pale but fierce. She didn't wait for words. She shoved the door open, kicking it hard enough to splinter the frame. "Daniel, I need to talk to you," she screamed. Claire stepped in front of me, calm but tense. "Stay back," she said. Lena lunged, hair flying, hands grabbing. Claire tried to push her away, but Lena was desperate, uncontrollable. She yanked at Claire's hair, trying to throw her to the grass outside. I grabbed Lena's arms, trying to stop the chaos. She fought me, twisting, screaming, pleading. Her voice broke over and over. Every word she spat felt like knives I had once ignored. Neighbors started calling out. Lights turned on. Someone dialed 911. By the time the police arrived, Lena was screaming, crying, incoherent. They restrained her, took her away in handcuffs, and I watched as she disappeared into the night. I felt hollow, exhausted, but relieved that Claire was safe. In the aftermath, I finally allowed myself to feel the weight of it all, the betrayal, the fear, the near-death encounter, and the violence she had brought into my life. My thigh still ached from the bullet. My heart still ached from the loss and deceit. But Claire held my hand, and for the first time in months, I felt like I wasn't alone in this mess. The days that followed were hard. I had therapy. I had work. I had Claire, who became my anchor, my reminder that not all love is destructive. Lena's actions left scars, but I learned to protect myself, to set boundaries, and to rebuild a sense of safety. I realized life would never be the same. I would never forget Lena or what she had done. But I also understood that survival isn't just about avoiding pain. It's about choosing what and who you allow to remain in your world. In the quiet moments, when the storm outside reminded me of her lightning strike, I would look at Claire and feel gratitude for her patience, her calm, her unwavering presence. She was proof that love could heal even after betrayal and violence. I learned that night, and in the months that followed, that protecting the ones you care about isn't just an instinct, it's a decision. And I chose to protect Claire, to nurture what we had, and to leave Lena's chaos behind me where it belonged. The world moved forward. I moved forward. Scars faded, memories stayed. But I no longer lived in fear. I lived in resolve. And sometimes that was enough.